this is kind of a shout out to the PowerShell beginners, people who are getting new into PowerShell, and you've maybe run like a bunch of like code on your like local system, but now you're trying to branch out. Maybe you want to run code against remote devices. So that's kind of what we're looking at today. Kind of some of the options you have to run your PowerShell scripts against like remote devices.
Yeah, because it can get tricky, right? There's different contexts in which you're like running from, and it can be confusing in the beginning.
For sure. Yeah. So I'm going to be going over a few basic commands. We're going to be starting off with Enter-PSSession. Now, I like to think of Enter-PSSession as almost as if you had gone to the computer yourself, you turned it on, and you're like right there at the terminal working on it. That's kind of what Enter-PSSession is. It's kind of like a one-to-one relationship. You're remoting into that thing, you're running commands on it, and then you get out and you're done.
Kind of like a remote desktop, but instead of like the full GUI, it's just like remote into a prompt.
100%. Yeah. So here we go. If I and I'm just going to be running through these just to kind of like keep this brief, but you can kind of follow along with my code here. So I'm just doing this step by step, but running this first line here, you can see down in the terminal window that now I'm connected to Reese's Puffs. Okay. And if I want to verify that, I can run this. Sure enough, it returns what computer I'm a part of. Now, this is kind of just a temporary connection, right? This isn't permanent.
This is like, I need to do this thing on this computer real fast. Run the command, bounce out.
Yeah, exactly. If I wanted to get like the file share, maybe that'll run. There we go. So I can see the file shares on. I was like, fingers crossed. Come on. So it's like I can go and I'm interacting with this computer directly, but as soon as I exit, that command no longer exists, and I can verify that by running git PSSession, which will show you all your active remote sessions. And I have none right now. So now if I wanted to interact with this computer again, I'd have to connect again to it, manually establish that connection again. That's where New-PSSession comes in. Now, New-PSSession starts a persistent connection that is like basically live until you tell it not to be live anymore. So as soon as you establish this connection, so we'll run that New-PSSession, computer name, Reese's Puffs. You'll see here, now, unlike when I did the first one where I connected and it's like, hey, you're connected to Reese's Puffs, you'll see that I'm still just locally on my computer, but I've established this run space here. I've opened this remote connection to this computer. So that's established, and now I can interact with it how I want to. If I want to actually dive into the session, I could call it by like its ID or its name. For instance, if I go like this, oh, I guess I got to add an actual
give it
ID number there. Try that again. There we go. Now you see that I'm connected there. Now, this is really cool because, and I'll actually show you a reason for this, but it's kind of a painful process. Like, oh, hey, I don't want to have to remember, like, because that PSSession ID, that's randomly generated as you're like connecting and disconnecting remote clients. So
it's hard to keep that mapping of like a Reese's Puff of 6.
Exactly. So instead of doing that, what we can do, I'm going to remove the PSSession real quick. So that just canceled all of my PSSessions. And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to do New-PSSession, and this time we're going to connect to 3 different computers, and we're going to assign it to a variable here.
Ooh, okay. So your sesh variable is now a PSSession on all of those?
Correct. Yeah. Cool. So now I can reference all those computers that are attached to that variable with just a variable. I don't have to remember the IDs or the names or anything like that. And let me see. Let me just run. Okay, so there you go. You can actually see my current connections. They're open. I can run to them. I can, if I ever want to use that session, now instead of like having to reference the actual session ID name or number, I can just use that variable. Now, so if I've got a couple things here. Now you'll see I'm using Invoke-Command, and I'm targeting the session instead of like the computer name itself. So I'm targeting session, and then the script block. So this is kind of like your standard syntax for like an Invoke-Command. You have Invoke-Command, you have what you're targeting, and then you have your script block. So I'm just going to run this real quick. Sure enough, it returned all 3 computers that I am remoted into right now. And we can take that a step further with git ps drive, getting the C drive on each of these. So all of a sudden you can see like, hey, I can interact with these when I want. Now that that connection is established, I can run whatever I want when I want. And I wanted to show you real quick kind of the difference between where that might come in handy, where it's like, okay, well, this is just a real brief session, or this is a persistent connection. So right here, if I do Invoke-Command, you see that I'm not targeting that session. I'm just targeting one computer. So I'll run this, and what this is doing, the script block, is it's assigning a variable to this get time. It's getting like the time zone basically of the remote computer. So I'll run that, and now it's assigned that to the variable. But now if I try to call that variable in the remote session itself, it doesn't return anything. That's because as soon as that Invoke-Command finished running, it closed the connection, everything was lost.
Yep.
That's because it wasn't persistent. If we do the same thing, but we target this persistent connection, and then we run the actual results, there you go. So this persisted, this did not, all because I was targeting this persistent connection that was established with that New-PS session.
I think something else to call out here too, if you're new to remoting, notice like your variable is defined inside of that script block, right? If you want to define variables outside of the script block, you can, but it changes the syntax.
Yeah.
Like you end up with what's called like a using variable. So instead, like if we defined, the variable tz outside of, instead of calling $tz inside the script block, it'd be using :tz. That lets when it goes to run the command, know that it needs to pull it from the context it's in, give it in the script block to have it available there.
Yeah.
That caught me so many times when I first started getting into PS remoting. It's like, I defined all these variables. Why aren't they populating inside the script block?
Yeah. And using is such a better way of doing it, because back in I want to say PowerShell 3 or 2 or 3, it was like, no, you basically had to redefine everything in the remote command itself. So passing it was not easy whatsoever. But we actually do, and I'll see if we can find this blog at some point, but we actually do have a blog that goes over passing variables between remote commands. So it kind of shows you all the options, including using that. Now, this is awesome, and totally helpful to know all this stuff, because PowerShell, once you start automating, once you start working beyond the bounds of just your local device, this is stuff that you're going to use all of the time. But there are some limitations to it. If you're trying to reach a computer that maybe you only have can see across the internet, well, unless they're using their VPN, you're still going to have an issue, right? And that's kind of where PDQ Connect comes in. And real quick, let's see if I can actually find it. Hey, there it is. All right. So PDQ Connect obviously has a couple of awesome solutions for this. We can come in here to a device. Let's go to, who's that looking for?
You're gonna pick on today.
Go
Fruity
Fruity
Pebbles?
Pebbles. Yeah.
All right.
Commands. I forgot what command I was going to run on this. This one right here.
Ooh.
Okay, so this is a cool command. I paste that and run that. Now this is again, this is kind of like that first Enter-PS session where you're one-to-one working directly with this target device, right? And this command itself is really cool, this get counter command, because this is live data. Hey, how much memory is currently available on this system? How many resources are being used? And you can do that for the processor and stuff like that. But here you can see not much, 873
What is
megs.
doing this morning?
So
Busy.
It's got some stuff. It's doing some stuff. I definitely was not putting stuff on it yesterday that you don't know about.
Oh boy.
There we go.
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Is there some negatives to keeping that session open with the PowerShell? Any security concerns with having that open?
I wouldn't want to keep it open when it depends. Obviously, if you're automating a process, you've got scheduled tasks running and stuff. That stuff is just going to run, so make sure your environment is secure. But, if I was just running some stuff on my console, on my terminal, and I was just there working on it, and hey, I'm done for the day or whatever, I wouldn't leave that up and running.
Okay, so you should close it each day.
Look, those Enter-PS Session uses DP API, so it's user on device as a token, right? So it's the same thing as do you unplug and take your computer with you everywhere you go, or do you just lock it?
I lock it.
It's very similar. Hijacking those sessions is, I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's hard.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I
the
should
stars
close
kind of
it.
got out of line.
Yeah.
Dustin's thrown down. He said that Brock's shoe game might be better than yours.
That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said.
Those
to
are
me.
clean.
I'm just
That is just because I just washed them.
Ooh. Woo!
extra vibrant right now.
Nice.
There is one last thing I want
All
to
right,
show. So this
all
is, again, great, like one-to-one, right? I can come in here in PDQ Connect and I can work on one computer, do whatever I have to do, and then I'm done. But if you need to do it on many computers, you can do that with, obviously, a package. So I created this package, simple script, get TPM, right? So if I deploy this now, and we'll go to Reese's Puffs,
Yeah.
and maybe Ing.
I do love that there's two very polar opposite naming
Stop
schemes
it. Don't-
happening here.
Why are you triggering me? I'm going to freak out. Stop it.
Okay, we're going to deploy that. Now, some people, like if you're new to Connect, you might like see that, hey, I deployed that, but I didn't get any information back. Well, we're always returning information to you. You can come in here to the deployments and actually see they've already run, so very fast. But if I come in here and I click on the status, whatever the status says, so here it says complete, I can come in here, I can see what I ran, get TPM, and then I can see the results here, TPM present false.
Yeah. You can just see that it does get wrapped. Like we do help with like what you're running. Yeah. We put in like try catch so that we can return like actual usable standard out to you.
Right. Yeah. Yep. So there you go. So, even when it comes to devices over the internet, you have an option for that like one-to-one remote connection, or you have options where, hey, I can send this out to multiple computers at once.
I'm sitting on my mic pack. I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Oh, sweet.
Continue. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that wraps it up. I'm glad you finished it off perfectly.
Yeah, I'm here for you.
Button that up just.
I'm here for you, Brock.
Thanks for watching this segment from PDQ Live. If you like this, you'll love the full show. Check it out every Thursday at 10 a.m. Mountain. Oh, and like and subscribe, please.